Good morning, this is Heather Hoffman, and today I have a bright, colorful, simple card to share with you using, again, the same die cuts that we used last week on our video here for Wednesday in the Works. We're using the wheat confetti cuts. So if you watched last week's video, these are actually the negative die cuts that I saved from last week's card. And I'm going to go ahead and punch the centers out of these so that they have the nice full lacy effect. You can leave those in. Sometimes they fall out when you're die cutting. Sometimes you kind of have to give them a little push out. It kind of depends how thick your cardstock is or what die cut machine you use. And now I have some colored cardstock that I'm going to cut down, as you can see, into just little thin consistent strips. I've already done this with a bunch of different colors of cardstock. It's a great way to use up your scraps, but it's good to have them trim the width of your card and then just trim them all into the same thin strips. I've also gone ahead and added some adhesive to the back of these, so once I kind of plan my arrangement and what I want to do, I can lay these all out and then I can stick them on my card. So right now I'm kind of playing with kind of getting the colors how I like them. I'm going to mix the stripes up in different colors, and I ended up kind of going on a fairly rainbow order. I mean, it's not all the colors of the rainbow, but at least the colors I have are kind of in their rainbow order. And once I have my layout plan, as you can see, I'm just placing one strip at a time and making sure to line up the next strip so it's touching the previous strip. Now, I'm not worrying about it being absolutely perfect on the sides, because when I get to the end, once I've stuck all these pieces on, I'm going to go ahead and just trim just a teensy tiny bit off of each side of this card using my paper trimmer. That way I can just kind of even up those edges. If you don't want to do that, you can pay super close attention. You could also cut these strips a little bit wider than your card base and then just trim off the extra, and then you'd know you had plenty to go from one side to the next. That top one is the most important, to make sure you have it level across the front of your card. And then as long as you line up each one afterwards so that it just touches that one previous, you know you're not going to end up with crooked stripes. Unless you want crooked stripes. It would be kind of fun to do these at an angle across the card front as well. Now I'm just going to even this off, as you can see, just trimming a teensy tiny strip. So my card will be slightly narrower than an A2 card, like ever so slightly, like 1/8 of an inch, I think. So I'm barely taking off. As long as you have a good sharp paper trimmer, you can easily do that. Now I have these pieces, and I was trying to decide at first how I wanted to put them. I decided to alternate them, similar to the card I did last week. Last week was an inlaid shaker card with gold, so you can look back on the ReverseConfetti YouTube channel or on the blog to find that if you're interested. I'm using a glue pen to adhere these, and you might notice I'm only putting it down the center of these because I want the leaves to pop up a little bit. So I'm making sure I have an adequate bit of the glue on there, because that's the only thing that's going to hold these in place, and I want them to hold well. So any liquid glue, it's a very fine line, so you're definitely going to want a liquid style of glue for that. All right, now that I have those adhered, I'm going to go ahead and add a sentiment. I'm again using the So Many Sentiments stamp set, and I'm going to stamp this underneath just in black ink. I'm going to use my Misty. So once I've chosen, I kind of changed my mind about the first sentiment I was going to grab there and ended up grabbing a slightly different one. There's so many choices in that sentiments set that I love. All the options I have makes it hard to choose. This would be an easy card to create lots of, though. Make a card set and use lots of different sentiments in different colors. Use up your scraps of cardstock. I'm using Midnight Dye ink here, and thanks to my Misty, I can stamp that twice to make sure it's nice and crisp and black. And there you go, a nearly one layer card, but it's flat and great to mail. Thanks so much for coming by. Have a wonderful day.